Go to Google and type Rathod's IAS. Then you can see our website, Rathod's IAS Academy. There you have to click on login or register in the blue color. So if you have not registered yet, you have to click on do not have account and fill the details. So once you have login, click on the courses. There you can see course list. And in this course list, you can see wide range of courses. Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 23rd June 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see some important articles that appear in Hindu and even some articles I pick up from Economic Times as well, so which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So here first article, it is about earthquake. So where it happened, earthquake happened in Afghanistan. So why we need to think about earthquake which happened in Afghanistan? Because as you all know, so we are sharing boundary on map with this Afghanistan. And one more thing here is India, which is mainly having many projects in this Afghanistan. And now why we need to talk about this Afghanistan? Because it is mainly seeking some help. It is mainly asking for some help. Because there were a number of foreign countries, they left this Afghanistan, especially US, which mainly withdrawn its troops from Afghanistan. And now if there is any severe earthquake or any severe disaster which has happened in this Afghanistan, yes, it is mainly seeking some help from the nearby countries. Okay, so because of this we need to know. And even if you see earthquake, which is an important concept in our geography, which mainly comes into our GS paper 1. Okay, so from this point of view you need to know. And not only this earthquake, which is a part of our geography, but even in our disaster management also we had one topic regarding this earthquake. So once this earthquake happens, so what are the steps that can be taken? So in all these dimensions we need to think about. And now let us try to see this topic. And as every time I will be saying, so whenever any country which is seen in news, means you have to open map and you have to see the countries which are mainly bordering this so and so country. So actually in 2022 prelims, so there was one simple question that appeared in the prelims, that is, which are the countries sharing boundary with Afghanistan? Okay, so now let us try to see this topic in all dimensions from our UPSC point of view. So first of all, let us try to understand context. So context says that a powerful earthquake struck a rural mountainous region. So why only mountainous region here? So actually there is Hindu Kush mountains which are mainly present. So actually, so if you see, this is the northern part of India and here we can see Pamir Knot, and this Pamir Knot there will be number of mountain ranges, they are mainly seen in this fashion. So actually the Hindu Kush mountains are mainly passing through this Afghanistan. So actually, so this area which is mainly tectonically mostly active. So here there are many chances of getting earthquake. So here a powerful earthquake struck a rural mountainous region of eastern Afghanistan near Pakistan border, which mainly happened. And because of this earthquake, which mainly killed at least 1,000 people and more than 1,500 people they have been injured, but till now there is no exact data regarding death toll. Okay, we are going to get that data soon. So if you see this image I collected from the Hindu newspaper itself, so here you can see how earthquake which mainly affected here, and most of the buildings they mainly came down. Okay, so these are some images which mainly shows about the situation of Afghanistan at present, at this especially earthquake affected area. And if you are talking about some details, so magnitude of 6.1. Okay, so magnitude of 6.1. So if you are talking about earthquakes, we will be coming across two important terminology here, that is intensity of earthquake and next one is magnitude. Okay, so let me know the units. So for intensity we will be calling 1 unit and for magnitude we will be calling 1 unit. So I will be giving you one clue here. So we will be using Richter scale. So for what we will be using this Richter scale? So let me know in comment box. So this topic that you can see directly in your NCERT book. Okay, so the magnitude of this earthquake here is 6.1. Okay, and here it is mainly occurred in coast and as well as Paktika province of Afghanistan. So now if you are talking about once this earthquake happened, yes, we need to go for post disaster events. Like we need to go for especially rescue. and we need to go for rehabilitation. So for rescue efforts and as well as rehabilitation, so these are the events are more complicated now in Afghanistan, because many international agencies, they mainly left this Afghanistan after once Taliban control or take over this country. So because of this, now it is mainly facing chaotic situation in Afghanistan especially. And neighboring Pakistan's meteorological department, which mainly said that, so quake epicenter. So again you need to know about what is this epicenter. For example, let us take this is surface of earth, and here somewhere what happened, so releasing of energy happened, that is this point is called as focus. So exact on this focus on this surface of earth, this is called as epicenter. So in this epicenter we can see large amount of damage which mainly seen. And if you are talking about this earthquake, so it is nothing but we can say shaking of earth is happening. So during that shaking of earth, a lot of energy which may be released, and this energy which is mainly spreading in form of waves. So we will be having body waves and we will be having surface waves. And if we are talking about body waves, we have P waves and as well as S waves, that is primary wave and secondary wave. They are longitudinal and as well as transverse in nature. And if you are talking about surface wave, we have two types, that is love waves or L waves, and next one is Rayleigh waves. So these surface waves, they are mainly causes large amount of destruction compared to that of this body wave. So this might be one prelim statement. Okay, so here especially this epicenter which is mainly located in this Afghanistan's Paktika province itself. And European Seismological Agency, that is EMSC, which mainly said that earthquake tremors mainly felt over 500 kilometers. So this earthquake tremors which mainly seen. And about 119 million people over this Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, they are mainly affected here. And if you are talking about what is the reason behind this earthquake, so here we have this Hindu Kush mountains. Okay, so mountainous Afghanistan, which has a larger region of the South Asia along this Hindu Kush mountains, and these mountains are vulnerable to these devastating earthquakes. And if you are talking about this earthquake which not happened, this is for the first time in Afghanistan, but earlier also we came up with a number of earthquake events in this Afghanistan. So most recent in 2015, so major earthquake which mainly struck this country's northeastern region, and in that even about 200 Afghanistan people, they mainly killed. And next one is 6.1 magnitude of this earthquake which mainly seen in 2012, and it killed about 1000 people in northern Afghanistan. And in 1998 also another earthquake which is of same strength which mainly affected about 4500 people. So this is about data of previous earthquakes in this region. So now let us try to see disaster management cycle. So we will be having three phases: disaster phase, post disaster phase and pre-disaster phase. So disaster means at this time event which mainly happened, for example earthquake which mainly happened. So after once earthquake happened, so we need to focus on post disaster management. So in this post disaster management, first we need to focus on response. So in this response, once this event happened, so we need to go for rescuing or saving lives of people such that we can decrease the immediate impacts of this disaster. And after that we need to focus on recovery. We need to restore the activities and national services in that area. We can go for rehabilitation. And next one is pre-disaster phase. So in this pre-disaster phase, we need to take some steps, especially to prevent, to minimize the impacts of this future disaster. And next one is preparedness. So we need to prepare managing the crisis before this disaster happens. So this is our disaster management cycle. So this is very important from your mains, especially from your GS paper 3 point of view. And next one here is an earthquake is shaking of earth which mainly caused because of release of energy. So whenever there is a shaking of energy, what happens? That will release lot of energy from the interior of the earth. So because of this, it mainly generates some waves, and these waves will be mainly moving in all directions. So as I said, we have P waves, S waves, they comes under body waves. We have love waves and as Rayleigh waves, they comes under surface waves. And these surface waves, they are most disastrous in nature because they causes damage, and because of this L waves and as well as Rayleigh waves, they will be moving in this direction, rotation direction, such that what happened, that will lead to the collapse of buildings. And if you're talking about earthquake management, especially in the point of India, I'm not talking about Afghanistan here. So if you're talking about earthquake management in India, so disaster management, that matter goes in the different stages, especially if you're talking about earthquake management. So first we need to go for awareness among the various stakeholders, like what are the steps need to be taken whenever the earthquake is happening. And next one is structural mitigation measures. We will go for monitoring and enforcement of earthquake resistant building codes, and we will be coming with appropriate town planning in these vulnerable areas, and proper earthquake response planning and system of decentralized response, and we are going for training of manpower to deal with disaster and building back better. So these are some important steps that we are going to take in this earthquake. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding national security is nutritional security is vital in fight against this TB. So we are focusing on nutrition and what is the link between this nutrition as well as TB. So actually we came up with one aim of elimination of this TB in India. So because of this, yes, we need to focus on this nutrition also. So that is the thing which mainly highlighted by this article. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So first let us try to understand context. So if you say context, now we are mainly facing crisis because of these two silent epidemics. So those two silent epidemics are, the first one is TB, second one is undernutrition, or we can talk about this malnutrition. So this TB and malnutrition, they are working together and they are devastating India. Okay, they together devastating India since decades. So since decades onwards, so they mainly have some devastating impacts on India. So we are coming up with only the approach to tackle with TB in India, and we are not focusing on this malnutrition or this undernutrition. So because of this, it is having some negative impacts that is seen on our society. If you're talking about details, it mainly says that, so here we are mainly having one challenge with this latent TB. So what is this condition of this latent TB? So we can see, yes, infection with this TB causing bacteria is there in the body, but the number of bacteria is less, so that it is not showing much symptoms like cough, fever, like that. It is not showing any symptoms, but yes, infection is there, but there is a very little amount of bacteria. So why there is little amount of bacteria? So if you are having a good immune system, it will be always trying to fight against this bacteria, so that it is mainly limiting the number of bacterial cells in your body. So this is called as latent TB. So in this latent TB here, especially millions of Indians, they are facing this latent TB, and because of this latent TB, they don't know, they ignore about what are the signs and symptoms they are facing. Some people, if the strong immune system, they do not have any signs and symptoms. So yet TB doesn't manifest in all people who carry bacteria. So why it is happening? So even though the people who are carrying this bacteria in their body, they are not getting symptoms. So why? Because this is a type of this latent TB. Because not only infection with this TB, but even other risk factors in our body. For example, if you are having any comorbidities like any lung disease or respiratory disorder, or if you are having any compromising of your immunity, and whenever you are facing undernutrition, so these are some important risk factors that will lead to increasing of probability of latent bacteria manifesting them into your TB diseases. So here we need to focus on undernutrition, we need to focus on comorbidities as well. And if you're talking about Indian case, so both TB and as well as undernutrition, they mainly exist in a very massive scale. That means in the larger scale, we have this TB and as well as undernutrition. So they mainly work together, and because of this, we can see that there are devastating results. So because of this TB and undernutrition that are mainly present in India, so we are seeing some devastating impacts, okay, on our health sector. So India has strong standing, or we can say like we are having a very long standing malnutrition. So there is a very long standing malnutrition problem that mainly seen in India, and this problem had became worse due to this pandemic. especially plight of migrants, and especially regarding the school children, there is no proper midday meal, and even Anganwadis have been shut down, and there is no proper nutrition which is mainly provided for the women, that is pregnant and lactating women, children. So because of all these things and because of this pandemic especially, so that led to increasing or worsening of this undernutrition, and now we are facing inflation in our market or inflation in our economy, and the food prices had been very much high. So if you are talking about edible oil prices, if you are talking about vegetable prices, pulses prices, cereals prices had been increased. So because of this, the poor who are mainly facing vulnerability since long, they had been very much vulnerable now. So because of this, there will be increasing of this malnutrition cases. So already we are facing this problem of long standing undernutrition. Again, this problem has been worsened. So if you're talking about severity of the disease, so poverty and the resulting undernutrition, which mainly increases the chances of this active TB. So when we are having this poverty and as well as undernutrition, so because of this undernutrition and poverty, that further increases the chances of active tuberculosis and TB in someone who carries bacteria, and also the severity of the disease. Okay, so because of this undernutrition, there is increasing of chance of the severity of this disease, and as well as there is increasing of bacterial count in the body. So because of there is increasing of bacterial count and severity which is increasing means, yes, what is the negative impact? So we can see negative impact on the speed recovery of the body, right? So whenever there is a less amount of bacteria means our immune system will be acting on that. Yes, we can recover fast. So if there is more number of bacterial count means what happen? Our immune system will be tired, and even if we are taking medicine sometimes, actually the course of the medicine for this TB will be very long. It will be ranges from 6 to 18 months. So based on the severity, and if you are having XDR TB, multi-resistant TB means it will be like a very difficult condition for the therapy. So here whenever there is increasing of undernutrition, so you will be having problems like speedy recovery of health, and even some side effects from the medicines we can see, and even that will have the chance of increasing of mortality or fatality as well. So in this context, what is the need? So here we need to focus on the treatment of this TB. Okay, so treatment of this TB. So treatment of this TB have been increased substantially, and we are mainly focusing to control this TB epidemic in relation with undernutrition as well as TB together. So we need to focus on both treating this TB with undernutrition, and despite India's economic progress, and we are also seeing that there are number of increased undernourished people without food security, and particularly if you are talking about children, women, tribal population and some other economically marginalized population, they are mainly facing this problem of undernutrition. And there are some estimates which mainly says that almost 55% of this India's yearly tuberculosis cases which are mainly related to this undernutrition. So undernutrition which mainly accounts for almost 55% of India's yearly tuberculosis cases. So if we are talking about what is the role of government, so what are the steps which are already taken by government and what are the loopholes in those steps, we are going to talk about that. So India launched this Nikshay Poshan Yojana. Actually it is mainly focusing on nutritional support. So nutritional support for this TB patients who can't afford to sufficient nutritious food. Okay, and this is a scheme which is mainly came up by government, but in this scheme we can see there were some concerns or there were some issues. So schemes design and conceptualization, they were finalized without consulting survivors. So without consulting survivors, here they came up with this finalization of this scheme. And also when we came up with implementation of the scheme, so we are having some challenges like delays in non-receipt of payments and demand for excessive documentation. And even how much amount you are providing under this scheme, it is just rupees 5,000 per month. So here here this 500 rupees, okay. So earlier they are like 500 rupees will be given, and this 500 rupees, it is very much insufficient because they need to follow this antibiotic therapy, and if they want to get medicines only, it is like taking the most amount of money. So here patient says that they need to get at least 2000 rupees per month, so but not 500 rupees. And if you are talking about need, it mainly says that even government which is providing some assistance, so 50% of this TB families, they are mainly suffering from devastating expenditure, and they are mainly struggling for satisfying of their nutritional and as well as medical demands. Okay, so because of this, your government need to provide some assistance. And next one here is we need to recognize rural, local and as well as regional shortcomings of this scheme. So we need to focus on rural, local and regional shortcomings of this scheme. And in the end here, if the objective of this Nikshay Poshan Yojana, it is the most vulnerable benefit for them, so we are mainly failing here. So because we need to focus on guarantee on this well balanced, we need to focus on guarantee of this well balanced and tailored diet. It is very much important. And if you are talking about eliminating TB, so India has made bold claims about eliminating of this TB by 2025. So we are mainly focusing on elimination of this TB by 2025, while this COVID-19 pandemic had clearly dislodged this target. So it is unlikely that we can control TB if we don't address undernutrition both as a preventive and as well as curative tool. So actually here we are mainly focusing on eliminating of this TB by 2025. It is an ambitious target of our government of India. So when we can address this, so whenever we are mainly taking into consideration undernutrition and we are focusing on this undernutrition as a preventive and as well as curative tool, so then only we can go for elimination of this TB by 2025. And here we need to focus on making our populations food secure, and we need to make them healthier, and just providing them diagnosis and treatment is not at all enough. We need to focus on even food security and even healthier diet. And we need to, if we continue to neglect this nutritional needs of population, yes, this is going to become a disaster in the future that cannot be managed. So that will lead to unmanageable disaster in the future if you are not focusing on this nutritional needs of this TB patients. So this is about this topic in detail. And now let us try to see next topic. Title says India needs $223 billion to meet 2030 renewable capacity goals report. So actually this article which I took from Economic Times, and even Hindu app also I found this article. Okay, so now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see, this article says that India needs $223 billion, and this amount which is mainly required to meet our renewable energy capacity goals. So renewable energy, for example, we can talk about solar energy, we can talk about wind energy, geothermal energy, tidal energy, etc. So these are some examples of this renewable energy, right? So we are mainly focusing on this renewable energy mainly because to decrease this climate change and to decrease this greenhouse emissions into atmosphere and to decrease this global warming finally. And if we want to achieve our target of carbon neutrality by 2070, yes, we need to focus on this renewable energy capacity and we need to improve our energy capacity. So here India needs about $223 billion to meet this 2030 renewable energy target. So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that India needs this $223 billion of investment to meet its goal of wind energy and solar capacity installation by 2030. So by 2030, so we need to meet this goal of wind energy and as well as solar energy capacity, and this is according to report by research company, that is Bloomberg NEF report. So if you see details, it mainly says that government has set a target of increasing of non-fossil power capacity of 500 gigawatts by 2030. So government has set a target of increasing non-fossil power capacity of 500 gigawatts by 2030, and even it wants non-fossil fuel power sources to provide electricity supply by 2030. And to achieve this ambitious target of India, and India needs a lot of investment in this renewable energy, and it is about $223 billions, and it will be required over next 8 years if we want to meet the targets in our solar and as well as wind capacity targets. So if we are talking about background, so here in November 2021 in Glasgow, so here Conference of Parties 26 which mainly held very recently, and this Conference of Parties 26 which mainly focusing on reduction of emission intensity, and in that COP26 especially Indian targets or India came up with these goals of reducing of this emission intensity by more than 45% by 2030, and we said that we are going to achieve this net zero by 2070. To achieve these targets or goals of India, yes, we need to focus on this renewable energy now. So the report that is Financing India 2030 Renewables Ambition, which mainly published in association with the Power Foundation of India, they found that corporate commitments from Indian companies, they could help India to achieve about 86% of this 2030 goals of building 500 gigawatts of cumulative non-fossil fuel power generation. So this is the thing which mainly said. And if you see this infographic which mainly talks about India's 2022 renewable energy target. So we have small hydel power plant that is 5 gigawatts, and from biomass 10 gigawatts, and from wind it is 60 gigawatts, and from solar we are mainly focusing on 100 gigawatts of power. And here if you see there is one more image that I focus, that is renewable energy targets India, and as well as it is especially regarding this Madhya Pradesh. So if you are talking about the targets, you can draw this type of diagrams, okay, in your mains answer such that it can increase the value. So that will add some value to your answer, and you can get at least half of 1 mark more than the other people. So gaining or bargaining at least half or 1 mark from the examiner will be very useful, especially in your GS papers to clear this means. So here solar 100 gigawatts, wind 60 gigawatts, bioenergy 10 gigawatts, and small hydropower projects 5 gigawatts. So it is a Government of India targets, okay, by 2022. And if you see some more important facts regarding this topic, our Prime Minister at this United Nations Conference on Parties meeting at this Glasgow, so India said that it is going to reach this non-fossil fuel energy capacity by 500 gigawatts by 2030, and half of the requirements we are going to achieve by 2030. So this is a target, and we are mainly focusing that we are going to boost renewable energy installation. So we are mainly focusing on this renewable energy installation, and it will be helpful in the long term. And here center in this 2020, it mainly came up with a target of 450 gigawatts of this renewable energy based installed capacity to be achieved by this 2030. Okay, so to achieve this target, yes, we need investment. And next topic here is India reports 86% of fall in cases since 2015 and 79% of reduction in deaths due to malaria. So actually malaria is very important from your science and technology, because here in the science and technology we will be having one topic like diseases. So in this disease you need to focus on non-communicable diseases and as well as communicable diseases. So from this chapter it is very important, and even now recently we can see there are a number of diseases in news. For example, malaria is there, and Ebola virus, polio, and as well as dengue, and even we can talk about COVID-19, Nipah virus. So you have to know about the disease which is a causative organism, either it is bacteria or virus or protozoa. So from this type also you can expect a question from this topic. So now let us try to see this topic in a great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that the number of malaria cases in India which have fallen staggeringly 86%. So since 2015 onwards there is decreasing of this malaria cases by 86%, and there has been 79% reduction in the number of deaths which mainly caused by this malaria from 2015 and 2020-21. So there is decreasing of deaths of 79% which is mainly seen. Okay, 79% of decreasing of deaths which are mainly seen between this 2015 to 2021. So it is according to non-profit organization, that is Malaria No More. So Malaria No More, it is a non-profit organization which mainly said that there is reduction of number of deaths between this 2015 and 2021. So now let us try to see what are the reasons behind the decreasing of deaths and what are the steps which are mainly taken by government, and now what is the target of government. Yes, we need to know that. So if you are talking about regarding fight against this malaria, yes, government is mainly taking number of steps. So India has budgetary allocation to fight this malaria which has been doubled. So there is a budget which had been doubled to fight against this malaria since 2017 to 2019. And also made notifiable disease. So it is mainly listed under this notifiable disease in 31 states and as well as union territories. And this is the thing which mainly given in the report, that is India's march towards malaria elimination. And next one is, so there is a distribution of over 9 crore long lasting insecticide nets. So actually what happens, so which is a vector which mainly causes this malaria? Malaria which is mainly caused by this female Anopheles mosquito. But the causative organism here is Plasmodium. It is a parasite. Right? So here what happened? So we need to avoid this mosquito bite such that we can decrease the chance of getting this malaria. So for that here government came up with distribution of over 9 crore long lasting insecticide nets, and recently 4.8 crore nets have been distributed in 2019 and 2021. So between this 2019 and 2021 about 4.8 crore of this nets they have been distributed. And if you are talking about this government of India target, so government mainly aims at eliminating malaria from the country by 2030. So this is one ambitious target of government of India. So if we are talking about challenges, it mainly says that greater participation of this private sector and individuals and communities that need to be happen. So if government is taking number of steps and government is coming up with budgetary allocation, so if there is no participation from the people, then how can we achieve success? So there is a need for participation of this private sector, individuals and even communities at the last should be there, mainly to reduce this malaria. And next one is, here private sector participation is very important, because mainly we need to dig out asymptomatic hidden malaria cases, and we need to improve this real time cases reporting, and even we need to focus on technological innovations. Okay, so in all these areas we need help from this private sector. And especially if you are talking about malaria in India, so which is mainly called as poor man's disease. Okay, malaria in India is called as a poor man disease. So it is mainly receive very much low priority from this health agenda, public health agenda. So we need to increase taking of action and as well as attention from the government. So there is a need of strong political will, I can say. And apart from that, all hands they must join in effort to eliminate malaria. So we need to join hands to eliminate this malaria so that India can achieve goal of eliminating the disease from this country by 2030. So if we are talking about some facts regarding this malaria, so malaria, it is a life-threatening mosquito-borne blood disease. Actually, it is mainly caused by Plasmodium parasite, and it is predominantly found in tropical and subtropical regions of Africa, South America and as well as Asia. Actually, it is mainly caused by the vector, that is female Anopheles mosquito. And what happened, these parasites, whenever the mosquito bite is happening, along with that saliva of mosquito, so these parasites will be inserted into our blood vessels. So after reaching it blood vessels, what happened, it will be reaching the liver, and in the liver it start multiplying in this liver cells, and later on it will be attacking the red blood cells. Okay, and it will be leading to the rupture of this red blood cells. And actually there are 5 parasitic species which mainly causes malaria in humans. So first one is Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, etc. So they are of greatest threat when we are comparing with the other species. And if you're talking about symptoms of this malaria, we will be getting fever and we will be getting flu-like illness, and shaking chills will be there because of destruction of RBC. And this one is headaches, muscle aches, and very tiredness that is also seen. And if you're talking about whether it is a preventable disease or not, yes, it is a preventable and even curable. So we are also having vaccines for this malaria. So this is about this topic, and now let us try to see next topic. Title says Rupee touches new low of 78.32. Census falls 1.4%. So what happened again? Rupee fall its value against dollar. So this topic is important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 3. And here you need to know about concept called as rupee depreciation. Rupee depreciation and what will be the impacts. So in impacts, you can talk about both sides of a coin, that is positive and as well as negative impacts. So now let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that rupee declined by 27 pies. So rupee declined by 27 pies, and now it is a very low of 78.4, approximately 78.40 against US dollar. Against US dollar it is like 78.38, or approximately we can say 78.4. So now let us try to see what is the concept of this rupee depreciation. So rupee depreciation is nothing but we can see there is fall of value of currency. So fall of value of currency. So rupee depreciation means rupee become very less valuable compared to the dollar. For example, earlier $1 is equal to 70 rupees, and now the same dollar, $1 is equal to now 78.4 rupees. Okay, so what will be the impact? So we will be seeing the positive impact and as well as negative impact, especially for the countries which are mainly depending on their exports, so they will be having some advantage. So whenever there is a weakening of currency, then that will mainly boost India's exports. Okay, but as you all know, India, it is mainly based on imports, for example crude oil, edible oil, like that. So we will be having some negative impacts. So negative impacts will be that will leads to increasing of inflation in the market, yes, of course. And next one is, so we are mainly dependent on the domestic oil, okay, on the import, so that we need to pay a lot of money. And next one is India also one of the top importers of edible oils. So we can say that there will be increasing of this edible oil prices and high food price inflation that is mainly seen. So this is about impacts. And now let us try to see one question which appeared in our previous years regarding this topic, that is in 2019. So which one of the following is not more likely measure the government or RBI takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? So here whenever there is a sliding of Indian rupee, so what is the measure which is taken by the government or RBI? First one is curbing imports on non-essential goods and promoting exports. Next one is encouraging Indian borrowers to issue rupee denominated masala bonds and easing conditions related to external commercial borrowings and following an expansionary monetary policy. The answer here is expansionary monetary policy. And now let us try to see one more article which is important from your geography and environment and ecology, that is coral reefs. So if you are talking about corals, so where they are present, they are seen in both tropical and as well as temperate region. So most of the students, they will be mainly choosing the statement wrong in prelims, that they are seen not only in tropical region but also temperate region. So in tropical region we can see mostly hard corals, but in temperate region we can see soft corals. So this is the difference. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. Title says 4 new corals recorded from Indian waters. From Indian waters we have this 4 different new species of these corals. Here you can see in the diagram. So now let us try to see context. So scientists, they have recorded 4 species of corals for the first time in Indian waters. So in Indian waters, scientists, they have recorded 4 species of new corals, and these new species of this azooxanthellae corals, they found in the waters in this Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So in this Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they came up with these 4 new species of these corals. So if you see some details, it mainly says that azooxanthellae corals, they are group of corals that do not contain zooxanthellae. Azooxanthellae means they do not contain zooxanthellae, and they derive nutrition not from the sun but by capturing different forms of planktons. Actually what happened traditionally, if you see, these are corals, okay, these are coral polyps. So in this coral polyps we will be having zooxanthellae, or we can say like microorganisms which are mainly present here, that is especially algae which is present, and this algae, that will be preparing the food and it will be giving some nutrition support for this polyps. But zooxanthellae means they do not having any algae here, but they will be directly capturing the different forms of planktons for their nutritional requirements. So because of this presence of zooxanthellae, we can see the corals will be having different colors, green color, red color, sometimes blue color, like that. But whenever we can see there is no zooxanthellae means they will be in white in color. So that is the thing that you can see in the image here. So there is no color, they are just white in color because there is no zooxanthellae, and they will be directly trapping this plankton for their nutritional requirements. And actually they are deep sea representatives with majority of the species. They reported from the depth from 200 meters and 1000 meters. And they are reported from shallow waters. Unlike zooxanthellae corals, they are restricted to shallow waters. And here this zooxanthellae corals, they are the group of hard corals, and 4 new species recorded, not only solitary, but they are having highly compressed skeletal structure as well. So actually these are mainly seen in this reef building corals, okay. And if you are talking about hard corals, they are prime and intrinsic part of coral reef ecosystem as well. So what is significance here? So here in this way, here these 4 new species which mainly enhances national database on biological resource in India. Okay, and if you are talking about some facts regarding these corals, they are mainly made up of genetically identical organisms called as polyps. They are mainly made up of polyps, and these polyps, they are home for this microscopic zooxanthellae. But this coral which we found, that is zooxanthellae. So here corals and algae, they will be living in a naturally mutual relationship. That means they will be helping for the both. So corals, they provide zooxanthellae with the compounds which are necessary for this photosynthesis. In return, this zooxanthellae supply coral with organic compounds of photosynthesis like carbohydrates, which mainly used by this coral polyps for their synthesis of this calcium carbonate skeletons. And here, these corals are also called as rainforest of seas, and there are 2 types of corals. For example, we have hard corals and as short corals. So if you are talking about coral reefs, okay, we have mainly 3 types of reefs. First one is barrier reef, fringing reefs, and as well as atoll. So these are some important concepts that you have to know regarding this coral reefs. And now let us try to see one editorial. So actually the most of the editorials in today's newspaper, they are political related articles. So we are not going to see that political, and if at all it is important from UPSC point of view, then only we are going to take that for discussion. There is no need of taking political articles. So now let us try to see the title, Heal the Nation Before Healing the Rest of the World. So this article which is mainly focusing on this health, which mainly comes out of our GS paper 2. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So actually introduction of this article, author mainly says that yes, we are mainly focusing on human health resources, and it is one of the primary focus of our present union government. And here recently government came with a number of initiatives and as well as policy pronouncement promoting this human health resources. So here recently in our budget 2022 also, so there were many recommendations which are mainly given by this 15th Finance Commission regarding this health care or health system. So here government came up with this very most recent announcement that is mainly focusing on concerns over coherence of India's vision with respect to health human resources. So recently Central came up with this Ayushman Bharat digital mission and even Heal by India initiative. They are mainly developing an exhaustive online repository of categories of healthcare professionals. So they are mainly coming up with repository of healthcare professionals in India. So though an innovation is much needed because of currently fragmented nature of such data, yes, we need this type of data, especially that will helpful for medical tourism in India. So if you are talking about WHO, that is World Health Organization forecast report regarding health, so WHO report 2020 which mainly projected that nearly 2 million more doctors nearly 2 million more doctors and even nursing professionals in India, they are required in order to maintain minimum threshold ratio. Okay, so minimum threshold ratio of these professions to the population. Yes, we need additional 2 million more doctors and as well as nursing professionals in India. So as per the study of this World Health Organization, so and also Public Health Foundation of India, so they says that yes, there is a shortage of healthcare personnel in India. So we need to focus on this healthcare professionals and we need to go for improvement of this number by 2030. So because of this, government came up with increasing of medical colleges in number of states. So here, because of this inadequacies in our healthcare system, so they will be having some negative impact on the labor force as well. So currently India, which is very much famous for this medical tourism, so it might be affected. So if we're talking about soft power production, that is soft power production of India, so in mid 1990s even we came up with this GATS provision. So this GATS provision, which mainly talks about general agreement on trade in services, they mainly focused on this medical and as well as health services as well. And here in this COVID-19, especially in this COVID-19 era, so we are mainly focusing on supply of this COVID-19 vaccines and even healthcare professions to other countries. So here now we are seeing there is a crucial destination, so that is seen in India, especially for vaccines and as well as healthcare professionals. So if we're talking about developing of this vaccines and as well as sending of these vaccines, it mainly characterized by much simpler transactional math, that is training of healthcare manpower. Okay, and we came up with a large number of subsidies. So because of this, it will be draining the resource of our native country. Okay, so especially this article says that so there is a scarce national healthcare resource which is mainly seen through this medical tourism, and we are mainly determinant of this detriment of this health equity and particularly developing of settings such as India. So here in this context, here India needs a registry. So here we need to go for immediately need for this measure of this shortfall of this members, that is professionals like doctors and as well as nursing professionals, and we need to come up with this healthcare professionals repository, and that will neither a strong demand side desperation nor significant supply side scarcity, and we can prevent a market to function well in its absence as well. So if you are talking about at national levels and even at sub-national levels, and we need to focus on this healthcare professionals registry. So it is a need of hour, and we need to address on the many challenges and disparities in health manpower availability, and we need to focus on distribution and as well as skill mix as well. So this would also come to strongly complement measures like, for example, we need integrated public health cadre, and we need to focus on initiatives to train, deploy and to retain more local power as well. So in healthcare, which is mainly characterized by perennially scarce resources, and we need to focus on identification of the challenge and we need to prioritize them first. So here finally author mainly says that it is time to go out. It is time to go all out to address national healthcare workforce challenges. Okay, so here we need to focus on the challenges and we need to come up with the solutions. And now let us try to say today's questions. The first one is regarding Vijayanagara style of architecture. So the first statement is use of pillars for architectural as well as decorative purpose, yes. Use of huge reverse curve eaves on cornice, yes. And shaft become a central core which is attached to upraised animal or supernatural kind of resembling of arts, yes. So all these statements are correct. So a correct option here is 4. And this one is Sufi movement was never static. New features were emerged in Sufism, especially during this 10th to 12th century. So find the correct statements. So first one is emergence of Sufi poetry in Persian, yes. Appearance of Sufi literary text which argued and codified Sufi ideas and as well doctrines, yes. And ulemas began to act. Actually, these ulemas, they always suspect the Sufi ideas. So this third statement is incorrect. So correct option is 1 and 2 only. And today's questions are, the first one is it is about Vaishnava Bhakti movement, and second one is regarding monotheistic movement of medieval India. So try to read the statements and give me the correct option in the comment box. And now let me make a small announcement. We in Rathod size we came up with this foundation course for UPSC. CSC 2023-2024. And here are some important features of this course series. So classes were taken by expert faculty, and there is comprehensive coverage of syllabus and 100% conceptual clarity we are providing, and each and every minute topic in your syllabus will be dealt with the details, and more than 600 hours of classes will be given. So if you take this foundational course, we also going to give you prelims test series of 1 year and even mains answer writing course of 1 year. And the price which has been available now at a discount price of 15%. So now you can get this course at just 49,000 rupees, and the validity is 2 years. So if you have any doubt regarding this courses, so please call me on this number 8074765513. So this course is absolutely beneficial because we are mainly dealing with current affairs as well. And if you visit our website rathodsIASacademy.com, then you can click on registration or login button. So if you have registered, you can click on login, and if you have not been registered, so please fill the details and you can get your registration done. So after once your registration is done, so please click on the course list and you can see the different courses that are available on our Rathod's IAS Academy platform. And so here, if you want to watch the demo videos, you can click on play course button, so that you can get 3 demo videos which are free of cost, and after watching that you can click on this buy now to purchase the course. And if you want to take this foundation course, here it is located in this last, and here this is our mains answer writing practice course. And we are also coming up with prelims test series, okay, that it is going to be started soon, and I will be announcing that. So if you want to take that also, you can take that prelims test series as well. So these are some important courses that we are offering in Rathod's IAS. It is very, very beneficial. And one more thing here is, so you can join the Telegram channel. So in this Telegram channel also, we are updating some current affairs related images and as well as infographics and some information which is very much relevant from your prelims and mains. So you can also join the Telegram channel. Link is given in description box. And if you want to get the PDF of today's class also, you can get in that Telegram channel itself. And now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our today's Hindu. So first article, it is about earthquake in Afghanistan. I discussed this topic in great detail, and I showed images, and I also told you about disaster management as well regarding this earthquakes. And if you move forward here, this article says that 1 trillion scope for digital economy. So this is a statement which is mainly given by our Prime Minister. So our Prime Minister, in his addressing made the meeting of this BRICS Business Forum. So in that event here, our Prime Minister, he said that India's digital economy and infrastructure sector, which is total having the potential of about $2.5 trillion. So here you need to think about that once. And next one, it is about 4 coral species. I discussed this topic. And you can leave the city page. There is nothing much important. And you can directly move on to the states page. So here in the states page, I found one important thing which is important from our environment and ecology here is, so if you see this image, you can see rag pickers, you are burning electrical wires. So in electrical wires, you can see there will be the copper wire which is mainly present in between. So they are mainly burning this wires to extract this copper metal. As you all know, extracting of copper, which is having negative impacts on the ground because it will be leading to the groundwater pollution. So here this thing that we can see in our villages as well. So I think you might be also have done this type of thing. So here you need to know about what will be the impacts of this copper. And I think in yesterday's lecture I discussed about the Sterlite company, okay, regarding this copper mining. So here again, whenever you are doing this type of things, not only by the industries but even by the people, so they are mainly causing some pollution, okay. So this is the case study that you can write. And there is one article regarding this national park in Manipur, that is about Kebul Lamjao National Park. It is a floating national park and it is mainly famous for these deers. So actually here title says that protest against move to shift proposed heritage national park in Manipur. So members of 7 youth clubs, mainly they have some protest which was mainly seen in this Kebul Lamjao National Park in this Manipur. They have now taken up this gadgets to ensure that this BJP-led government does not shift this proposed heritage park from this government proposed sites. So here you need to know about some facts regarding this Kebul Lamjao National Park. And if you see in this editorial page, there is one article regarding caste and economic transition. So I found this article, it is nothing like much political article, so because of this I didn't took for discussion, and if you are interested you can read this article. And next topic, it is about this health. I discussed this topic. And if you move on to op-ed page, there is article regarding this crypto came tumbling after. So actually I discussed about this topic regarding decreasing price of this cryptocurrencies. And if you move forward in this text and context, here it is talking about bird strike and aviation safety. So recently what happened, there was one flight which mainly captured fire during the landing. So because of this, here this article is in news. So here what happened, so bird strikes incidents which are mainly led to burning, okay, and fire incidents that are mainly seen in these airports. So here we need to focus on the review of the wildlife hazard management plans within and as well as outside these airports. And actually recently some analysis which mainly said that 62,416 verified records of International Civil Aviation Organization bird strike information system, which mainly shows that most of the birds which mainly hits in or near airports during the takeoff and as well as approach of phase of flight. So because of this, it is mainly one of important thing that we can see. And this is the image you can see here, birds, they are mainly coming in this path. And if you move forward to this news page, there is nothing much important. And in this 11th page also you can see one article like golden era of Santal tribe in India now, say community leaders. So why? Because here NDA government mainly proposed, okay, one person for this president. She is from the Santal community of Odisha. So because of this, you need to know Santal rebellion and importance of Santal in our Indian freedom struggle, and as well as from our anthropology point of view. And if you see in this 12th page, you can see Australia lays LAC assault was a warning. So this is talking about India and Australia relations. And here you need to talk about this India-Australia joint working group on defense research and as well as material cooperation. So they are mainly focusing on boosting of defense ties. And next article, it is regarding Modi to attend G7 summit in Germany. So this is also very important. And if you move towards this world page, India Russia should have direct trade and investment agreements. This topic is also very important because India, which is mainly dependent on this Russia for a number of defense equipment. So this is the thing which mainly said. And here Pakistan secures IMF deal to restore $6 billion stalled aid. So actually here, whenever any country which is mainly facing this balance of payment crisis, they will be approaching this IMF. So in this context, it is important. And this one is Israel uncovers remains of mosque. And here in this business page, I discussed regarding this topic of rupee depreciation. And there is one more article, that is India reports financial year 2022 CAD, that is current account deficit of 1.2% as trade deficit widens. So number of times we discussed this topic. Now you can revise this topic. So these are some important articles that appeared in the today's Hindu newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to the courses that we are offering in our Rathod's IAS. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.